Hello guys, this is a review of two very strange movies, The Witches of Eastwick and Strange But True. Let's start with The Witches of Eastwick. They don't have a lot in common with each other, but they're both pretty weird, so I thought might as well just do it now. This movie stars Jack Nicholson, Cher, Susan Sarandon, Michelle Pfeiffer. Could you imagine? This is crazy. I don't think like a lot of young people probably don't know, but these are like goddesses in show business. So this movie is about these three women who live a normal life in a very small town, but they wish that they had like a guy. It reminds me of American Pie Girls Rules. They want a guy and they wish for a guy, and like you see like very odd things happening. For example, when they wish for the pastor to like stop giving a sermon. I don't know if he's a pastor or a father, I don't know, but anyway, starts to rain, starts pouring and like thunder, and you start to think to yourself as the audience, like maybe they're the witches. So they're home and they wish for a guy, and it comes true. This guy comes riding along. He's new in town. Everybody's talking about him. Nobody remembers his name until much later. And he starts seducing each and every one of them. And then they realize, they're like, oh, so you've been with him? And they're like, yeah, and I've been with him too. And they don't really fight, but it's kind of strange. They have like, how could we say, like an orgy or something like that, because they're just there doing like crazy things. Kind of reminds me of, what is that, Caligula. It's like all over the place, and the people in town are obviously like, they're, oh my gosh, like how could that happen, like that's unspeakable acts of I don't know, you know, they're like small town people, small town beliefs, and they're very adamant of having these people living there. And you see like paranormal, like I'm remembering it's like so hard to explain to you guys, because it will seem like this is like a little kids, well, not a little kids, but you know, like something of like a fairy tale, something like the Chronicles of Narnia that I haven't watched, or like Harry Potter, something that doesn't really happen, because it doesn't really happen. They could fly, and like they're witches, like I said earlier, they are three witches, and this guy is like the devil. Supposedly, like I remember watching, I watched this movie and they were describing like their like number one man, like, oh, I want him to be like this, I want him to be like that, handsome and this and like that. And I remember like seeing Jack Nicholson, and obviously aside from like the conventional beauty standards that we interpret to be true nowadays, like aside from all of that, I didn't think that he fit the role, like based on what they were describing, because they were very superficial and very, very clear that and I was like, am I crazy? Like, what's going on? And I looked up the trailer on YouTube after watching it, and the comment section is filled with comments like that. I was like, I wasn't the only one. I felt like they could have picked somebody different from him. Obviously, Jack Nicholson is an amazing actor, but from the moment that he came onto the scene in this movie, I felt like he was overdoing it. And I watched him in one other movie, which is The Shining. I didn't like the movie at all. I don't know, he's like just, you know, like too exaggerated. You know what I'm talking about. And I feel like for this one, okay, to be fair, after a while, I start believing, you know, his character. Like, he did a very good job. He's a fine actor. Very, very good actor. But I do think that they could have picked another person for his role. Anyway, I think he did do it justice. Like I said, his acting skills did it justice. But it's just like, I don't know, like you wouldn't picture him to be like what they were praying for. You know what I'm saying? And then after a while, he starts to they separate from him because they're like, dude, like, people are dying because of us. Like, we don't want that. So he gets mad that they're not answering, that they're not going out with him anymore. So he gets one of them very sick, and she's pregnant. I think they're all pregnant too, because he wants to have a child. He's kind of like I said, the devil. And that happens. He goes crazy, and so the witches, they go back to his place and trick him, and they do a little voodoo doll of him, and they start like torturing him. They don't want to hurt him, but they want him out of town. But he comes back and turns into this huge monster. All of what I'm saying, you're probably thinking like, what is he talking about? Like, yeah, it gets all over the place. It was entertaining. I think the most entertaining part for me was having the three of them together. Do you know what this means? That was like, I think, the best thing, and it has its moments, a few good moments. It's actually a pretty strong movie for its time. I'm like, damn, like they were talking about that like it was nothing, you know. But I guess they wanted to put the contrast of the small town and like the liberal-minded people. Sorry about that, but yeah, and that's how this movie ends. I would give it. They actually end up happily. With three cute little babies, one of them blonde, redhead, and the other one brunette, and oh, so cute. I would give a rating of, and he only shows up on screen, so they could turn him off whenever they want to. He's no longer there physically. I would give it a rating of 6.5 out of 10. It's not bad. Like I said, like for like a normal like whatever movie would be 5, so 6.5 out of 10, I would say, for this movie. Strange but true. This is based on an acclaimed novel, as they say here, and the reason why I bought this movie, I remember walking through Walmart and seeing this movie, but I didn't pick it up because I didn't feel like it was for me. Like, I was like, I don't like those type of films. I was only interested because of Nick Robinson. And then later on, I searched it up again. I don't remember how it happened, but I saw that Connor Jessup was there. So I was like, Connor Jessup from Closet Monster, and Nick Robinson from Love, Simon. Could you imagine? I was like, that's crazy. They're like, they're gonna act. And I saw in the trailer that they talk to each other. I was like, that's, ooh, I had to get it. So I got it. Here's what the movie is about. The movie follows the story of these guys. So this is a mom, this is the dad, this is Melissa, and this is Philip. Philip's brother Ronnie was the boyfriend of Melissa, and he died in an accident. I'm going to explain it to you in chronological order because the movie does not do that. So they went to prom. It's prom night there. They rent a limo, and Melissa's like, do you love me? He's like, yeah, I love you. He's like, well, then see it. And he goes over on top of the limo and yells it to the world, I love Melissa. And the driver's like, dude, get down from there. Like, get down from there now. Like, that, you can't do that. But he doesn't listen. And Melissa's like, don't listen to him, just go. And they crash, and he dies. And then she shows up 5 years later to their house, and he's in crutches. And she tells him that she's pregnant. She's visibly pregnant. And she explains to them how she thinks it's Ronnie's baby, and it's just like a gift from the heavens. That, I don't know, like, she's like, I really wouldn't believe it either, but I haven't been with anyone else besides Ronnie, and it's his. But yeah, you could believe me, or you don't have to. And she leaves him his phone number, but she's very rude. Like, she obviously, like, she's struggling, she's very crazy. And he married somebody else, so they're divorced. And then you start picking up pieces, like the mom calls the dad and her ex-husband, and she asks him, hey, so you could do artificial inseminations post-mortem, like, how could you do that? And did you do that to Ronnie because you were the doctor that was there when he had his accident? And he was like, no, I would never do that. But then she goes over to the cabin where she's staying with these two older people, him and this guy right here, I think. no, on this guy right here. And the woman is like, oh yeah, so Mr. So-and-so has been paying like monthly. He's very responsible for her. And then she leaves and she calls and she's like, so you've been paying her rent. So it is true. She starts suspecting that he got her pregnant with Ronnie's sperm. And a lot of weird things happen. Philip ends up calling Melissa and they meet at the cabin. And then he's like, you know what? I know that you believe in it. But, before that, there's a scene with the sidekick. This is a truly, like, probably the scene that most engulfed me overall. The sidekick is so creepy, and she basically tells him about his situation and everything, and that people believe what they want to believe. It's like your reality. If you believe in ghosts, then ghosts are real. If you don't, then they're not real. So he goes over to Melissa's house, and they talk, and he tells her that he knows that she believes in that the baby is his, so it's his responsibility to like be the uncle, and he will happily do that. He says goodbye, and then Melissa starts yelling for him because she's in labor, and he goes back, takes her to his car. Remember, he's in crutches, so he can't really drive, and he's like, well, the people that I assigned like responsible in case they have to make any radical decisions are the old people that I live with. Can you go get them? And he has to go back, and he realizes that the guy killed his wife. And so he starts running because the wife found out that he had roofies in his cigarette box thingy. He hit them, and he's been like, because Melissa sometimes loses it, like she faints and she passes out, and that doesn't happen just out of the blue. He's been drugging her, and he's the one that got her pregnant, and she doesn't know. How does she not know? I don't know. But the guy notices, and they have an argument with his wife when his wife finds out, so he kills her accidentally, and Philip sees that, so the guy runs after him and catches him, and Melissa drives over to the hospital because, like I said, she's in labor, she's due any moment, and she gets there, she manages to have the baby, and now the guy has Robinson where he wants him. He's about to bury him alive, but his parents go check up on him because they realize that something's wrong. Woo! This movie's all over the place. And they manage to save him, and they're all happy, and they accept Melissa and her baby. End of the movie. Is this movie crazy? This movie's crazy. This movie is strange, but true. So, what did I think about the movie? I thought that I remember reading a lot of reviews, and they weren't good reviews, and I can't see why. The movie was kind of dull. The performances, I do not dare like say like, you're not a good actor, you're not good this, like I can't, like I feel bad, like I feel like, who am I to judge? But honestly, I don't think the performances were that great, and the cast looks like they're all serious actors. Like, I mean, I don't recognize most of them, but I felt like either wrong cast choices or wrong acting methods by the actors. I don't know what it was, but it didn't seem believable, especially at first. You know, the first few minutes are supposed to really transport you into that world that you're watching and make you live it, and this movie didn't do that. The mom acted nuts throughout the whole movie. She was on, like, we wanted her here. She was right here. Like, you couldn't even catch up to that woman. She responded in ways that were just not normal. And I do understand, you know, mental health is a serious thing. She lost her son, traumatic experience. You have like fragments of your soul that are never going to come back together the way they were. But I think for the movie, they should have either made it a point that she was ill and that like she's like needs help, because everybody acted like she didn't need help. Like they were like, oh well, like, you know, you're suffering, so like we know that you're suffering, but like you're good. Like, no, she's not good. Not the way that she's acting. Like she flips on people, she snaps like that, like out of nowhere. Like the guy can't, like nobody could tell her anything. The son, played by Nick Robinson, obviously I felt like, wow, like, okay, it's good. I saw like some pieces where I was like, I don't know. I think it was good, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. With Connor Jessup, which is Ronnie, his brother, he had very few scenes. They were good. They were good. It's just that I felt like, I think the way that the movie was made, I'm curious to see how they pulled it off in the book. This is like they made it like a mystery style, and that's what's interesting. And I'm not really the type of person that likes this genre. I watch all genres, you know that, but it's not my favorite. I don't like to constantly be guessing what is this and what is that. And this movie was basically a what is movie, but it wasn't in a way that was very entertaining. The dad was good. I feel like the dad did a good job. The sidekick was amazing. Like, there's a scene where she's good. Like, I was like, is this a scary movie? Because I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't read a lot about it beforehand. The mom, well, no, not the mom. The old woman and the old man, they did a good job as well. The woman especially. But yeah, this movie was all over the place, man. Like, I mean, it has a simple story, but just like with people. Oh, Melissa. Let's talk about Melissa. Melissa was so calm and so spiritual. I was like, girl, you know what's going on in your life? For her to just be like, so I understand if you don't want to see me, but I believe that this is Ronnie's baby. You could believe whatever you want. I'm like, dude, of everything that has happened, 5 years after, you obviously can't get over the fact that your boyfriend is dead. And the mom hates you. You haven't spoken to the brother. Your parents kicked you out because they're very Christian and very religious, and you're like a witch. And you're like so calm, like nothing's happening. Oh yeah, like we're just gonna... Maybe, I mean, there are people with very like calm personality, so I kept giving it the benefit of the doubt, and she had moments where I was like, wow, she's flipping very good between emotions. Like, that's a very good actress. Like I said, I'm not doubting that they're very good actors, all of them, but in here I felt like they didn't have the right approach. I didn't feel like it was what they should have done and how they should have done it. I had a lot of problems with that. It's very difficult to explain, but you know, like other movies that I reviewed where I was like, I would have done the same thing, or like that, it went exactly like, in this one went like the complete opposite, and not in a good way. Like, it wasn't surprising, it was just kind of like, I'm not buying it type of thing. But then, like, you know, you get used to the characters as is with everything. I would give it a rating. It was also a pleasure to watch Nick Robinson and Connor Jessup, like I said earlier. My rating would be 6.5. 6.5 out of 10 in this category. You could watch it. I think people could enjoy it, especially if you really like movies like this. This just probably wasn't my cup of tea, that's all. And that's it for these. Witches of Eastwick and Strange But True. Thank you for watching.